Well, I think today was the coldest practice I've experienced, I think, in my life, and it was, what was it, 50? No, Red gave us these today, so in support of our incredible equipment staff, I'm representing. So,
Joe, what do
how
you
we
think?
doing, guys?
Oh, sorry.
Good, probably not as good as you though, right? You go with a new player on defense.
Yeah.
So, what's Whitney gonna bring to you guys?
You talking about Whitney?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny how when these things happen. First of all, it was great to get him. I'm happy that he's here, and great kid. And I always tell you guys, I always equate everything to, you know, the process. When you've been in the league a while, there's not many players that you don't remember, at least for me, that I don't remember back to, you know, when he came out and the process, you know, the vetting process that you do when you get ready for, you know, the draft. And so he's had a heck of a career, and first and foremost, I'm glad he's here. He legitimately, I mean, he didn't even make it to our meetings today by the time everything got, you know, with the physical and the contract. But made it out to practice and ran around at practice today and looked great. So great addition. We're really excited that he's here.
Joe, what do you think about the start Kenny has gotten off to this year?
Yeah, Kenny is you know, we have a kind of a run just because I'm a USC Trojan and he's a Bruin. So, but what a stud of a guy, man. Just, you know, I'm a big believer. You know, I got a phrase that I've used for a long time. It's not my phrase. I've read it somewhere or heard it somewhere. You know, the truest measure of performance is consistency. You know, or I should say, consistency is the truest measure of performance. And that's the thing when I think of Kenny Clark. He is just consistent every single day. And even go back to it didn't really hit me, you know, early on when the process started back in, you know, the OTAs and training camps and things like that. But just thinking back of it now, I mean, he's the same guy every single day, and he just works. He's detailed. Just all the little things that I don't know if you guys ever pay attention to, you know, to him down in the corner in Coach Montgomery's corner in an individual. But all the things that they do down there every single day, I mean, Kenny just works, you know, and it's really impressive to see because you know exactly what you're going to get every single day. And, you know, Kenny's gotten to a pretty decent level as far as, you know, where he's at in the food chain as NFL players. And it's, you know, I've witnessed guys when they get to that point, they kind of, you know, relax sometimes. They kind of say, you know, hey, I'm at the top. That's the thing with Kenny Clark. You see every single day. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, Wednesday, yesterday an individual, or Thursday, today an individual. He works. He works at his craft. He works at his pad level. He works at his hand placement. He studies film. So, of course, he's incredibly gifted, God-given talent. But what makes him special is his work ethic. And like I said, just every single day, you know exactly what you're going to get with 97, and it's neat to see.
Joe, I understand that rushing the passer is not just a simple job of, hey, go after that guy.
Yeah.
That said, with missing meetings, being able to do whatever he did in practice today, and then having tomorrow and Saturday to get him ready, do you think Mercilus can help you right away?
I hope so, you know, and he didn't miss a meeting. I want to clarify. He wasn't technically on the team when the meeting started. So, you know, I think in situations like that, I think it's always not by any means to simplify the job that those guys up front have to do. But sometimes it's a little bit easier for a guy in the front to, you know, to play a little sooner than, you know, like we just went through this with Jalen, you know, when he got here. You know, it's almost impossible for, you know, an inside linebacker or a safety. Man, if you have to sign a guy on, you know, if he gets here on Thursday morning and he has to play on Sunday, those positions are hard. it's a little bit simpler when, you know, you have a guy up front. So we'll see where he's at. Like I said, we just got done watching the practice tape. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many reps he got, but he was in uniform, had a great practice, ran around. It was great to have him. You know, he's wearing number 50. But you know, we'll see what tomorrow brings. You know, we still got plenty of time. He's in the meeting room with Coach Smith right now, getting a crash course on everything. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. We still got time, obviously, on Saturday, and then we'll see where he's at. You know, when we gotta turn the slip in on Sunday. But again, he's a great kid. He's exactly all the things that I've heard about him for the last 10 years as far as a teammate and character and all that. He was great. You know, I think him and it's kind of cool. It's always neat for a player when they come in these circumstances to have, you know, I think him and Cobb developed a relationship a little bit when with 18's time in Houston. So I think it's always a little bit easier when you walk in the door and at least you got one familiar face. So, but we're really glad Whitney's here.
What kind of jump do you think you can see from Jalen from 1 week to the next?
Yeah, you know, I think it's hopefully you know, substantial because it's hard, you know, especially playing the position that he plays. I can't remember if we talked about this last week with you guys, but you know, that's why you have OTAs. That's why you have an off season. That's why you have training camp. You know, you put those. You know, literally, you play roughly 1,000 snaps in a season. You know, usually if you go back and you count the practice reps from an OTA period and a training camp period, it's about 1,000 snaps. You know, but that's why you have that, is to learn a system and learn the nuances of the system. And again, if I'm repeating myself from last week, I'm sorry, but you know, that's the first thing I told him. I said, you've gone through coordinator changes in your career, telling Jalen this, but it's happened in, you know, May, right? You've had time. You know, he's learning a playbook in October, you know. So just visiting with him, I think just, you know, it's amazing what a week does. You know, just talking to him today, you know, how he feels today on Thursday compared to last Thursday. He's like, oh my God. So, but to answer your question, yeah, of course, you'd hope there's, you know, he's going to make strides every single week.
Joe, what did you think of what Rasul gave you? You know, I think it was on 13 days.
Yeah.
And I think he might have been around 58 snaps, something like that. Just how did you feel he kind of stepped in there?
He did good. You know, he's a kid that's, you know, it's not, wasn't like he was a rookie on practice squad that came up. You know, he's been in some other buildings. He's been on NFL, you know, he's been in that forum before. So I don't think it was too big for him. And, you know, he's a very confident kid, you know, so I thought he did a heck of a job. You know, there are a few things that he obviously has to improve on. But, again, looking at him, you know, I didn't specifically have the conversation with him today like I did with Jalen, but I'm sure he'd say the same thing. Man, today on Thursday I feel so much better than last Thursday. But I tip my hat to him because, you know, that's hard when you come in, as I keep saying. When you just get to a place and then, bam, you got to go in and play, it's hard. And he did a heck of a job. So I'm proud of him for that.
Anything else in the room, guys? Sarah, let's do Zoom.
Yep, just one, Aaron Nagler.
What's up, Aaron?
How you doing, Coach?
Great.
A few weeks ago, going back and looking at just the past few weeks on your side of the ball, it seemed like you guys were really coming along, like after that Pittsburgh game, of really kind of starting to mix things in as far as coverages and pressure calls, you know, cat blitzes, things that may be a little bit more complicated. Has the kind of, I guess, circular notion of all these guys coming in and out as far as injuries and having to plug guys in, has that limited some of the stuff you can do schematically, just because, like you've been talking about, you guys coming in off the street and having to play significant minutes for it?
Yeah, you know, we've definitely had some moving parts, but you know, I always, you know, I'm a firm believer that, you know, we have a great coaching staff here, and you know, I give them every single one of them. Jerry Gray, Kirk Alvadati, Jerry Montgomery, Mike Smith, Ryan Downer. They do a phenomenal job with those guys. And, one of the things that, I'm a big believer in, I remember one of the first things that I talked to our staff when I first got here is that, it was kind of the approach that I took as a position coach. I think you truly have to have the belief, and you have to train your room as a position coach. If you have starters and you have backups, just the way that sounds and feels. If you're a backup and you think of yourself as a backup, you're going to prepare and get ready like you're a backup. And we use the term, we have starters and we have starters in waiting. And I think everyone's kind of embraced that. And the coaches especially, in the way they approach everything and the way they train their room. Because in this league, injuries are unfortunately part of our business, and it happens. You don't want them to happen. Of course, when they do happen, you hope that they're not, substantial, long-term deals. But if you take the approach in your room that, hey, you guys are all starters because you're one snap away from being a starter, and I think everybody's embraced that, and our guys have done a great job with that. And when we've had a nick or a bump in the road, the next man up mentality has been, you hear that all the time, but you have to mentally prepare that way. So when it does happen, bam, you go. And our guys have done a great job with that so far.
Coach, just one more, Stacy Dales.
Hi, Stacy.
Hey, Coach. Just a two-part questions from me. Thank you, Sarah. Taylor Heineke said this week he's been trying to be too perfect in the last couple weeks and has had some struggles. Just your thoughts on their quarterback and how you're urgently sort of addressing the red zone specifically with your guys.
Sure. Well, Taylor's done a great job. I think going back to last year, he's stepped in and done a phenomenal job, and I think he does. I think as a defense, the hardest thing with any quarterback is when he can extend plays and he can, turn nothing into something. And I think he really does a phenomenal job with that, with his legs and with his vision and with his knowledge of the game. So I think he's really done a good job with that, from what I can see on tape. And with the red zone, we're going to stay after it. I talked about it last week. It's obviously, I don't know any NFL team in the league that doesn't emphasize that during the week, and it's a huge emphasis for us. Obviously on both sides of the ball as a team on Friday. So we're going to keep practicing it. We're going to keep giving the guys the looks. I think a little bit of what's transpired with our woes in the red zone is we've been pretty darn good. I don't know where we are at league wide, but I'm almost positive we're in the top 5 in not giving up penalties defensively. But a huge number of the penalties we have had defensively have happened in the red zone. And when you shoot yourself in the foot down there and you give NFL offenses a new set of downs, you're really behind the 8 ball. So, but like I said, Stace, we're gonna stay after it and keep working it. And the guys are working their tails off every week, and we'll continue to get the looks and get the scheme that we want, and then we just got to go make plays. And like I said, we can't give NFL offenses an extra set of downs down there. We got to win downs and get off the field and hold them to field goal attempts.